Welcome to FMTraining.tv, everyone. So yesterday we had an unfortunate moment, or I should say a very fortunate moment, and it's the idea of painting yourself into a corner, and it's what I did. And I'll explain to you. It's a good conversation to have. So real quick, we'll get into the data modeling. So here is a sequence of events. So I built a solution for Big Valley. It was engineered and architected about 3 years ago. We data modeled it pretty seriously for the discrepancies, which is the items of service they have to do, like drain the oil, put the oil filler cap back in. It's all the labor stuff. At the time, I built a couple tables for the parts, knowing that they weren't going to use the parts anytime soon. We had to get the other part done. And I didn't put the requisite necessary mental cycles into building it. And so then fast forward, they want to do parts, and I assumed that the parts tables when they were all super good, ready to go. Then we have this live stream. There's nothing wrong with the live stream. Everything we're talking about is good. But some of you caught probably, and it came up yesterday in the live stream, and we're like, oh, wow, right? So what I'm going to do, I'm going to pop open this database here. I'm going to go to this. Now, this is a copy of FM Starting Point 25 Lite. It's the one you're going to get, but it has this extra part stuff in it. So here is what we ended up with. And I went through a bunch of machinations with them on the phone and some dictionary stuff today. If I go to free, where's it at? Free form is once again our graphical drawing thing. So let's bring this up from yesterday, okay? Here's what we had. So at the end of the day, this is the two things that we really had nailed, right? This is the work, the project of the job where you're working on an aircraft. These were the parts that were actually utilized on that service job. So if you have a oil filter, it's a non-recyclable item. You use it. When you're done, you throw it away. In some cases, every once in a while they have one they recycle. Just assume they throw it away. Like in a car, you take it, you throw it away. Maybe they recycle it, whatever. But the point is that you can't take it off and put it on another aircraft or another car. It doesn't work that way. So this is locked in concrete. This is locked in concrete. It was this stuff over here that caused a question. Well, I'm going to spend a little time on this. Then we're going to go back to FileMaker and talk about it. So Margaret, can you help me out here? So we had a catalog. Okay, so here's what we had. We went round and round and round about what to call this right here. And this is where we would say, hey, we're going to do a service work on a Toyota Tundra 2005 pickup truck. And you say oil change, or maybe like a 30,000. So if those of you do vehicle stuff, most services, the manufacturers do 30,000, 60,000, 90,000, 120. Every 30,000 is like a big work. In between there are little oil changes. So 30,000 mile service job on a specific make and model and year. That's what would be in here. So I say 30,000 mile service. For those of you in a Tesla, I don't know what those numbers are. At some point you have to get new batteries, right? Because the batteries do wear out. 30K mile service. I'll say Toyota Tundra 2005. Okay, so what is this, right? What does this constitute? There are multiple parts. One record is individual part used in this up here. So we went round and around, and what ended up coming back is you have the common terminologies of BOM or bill of material. You see bill of materials, build of materials. Generally, those terms are used to when you are a manufacturer and you're manufacturing a car, and you have all the component parts that go into it. So it's what you have when you're manufacturing. If you have a kit, it's the parts that are put in with the kit or that are associated with the kit, and there's really not any construction or assembly required. And so the best terminology for this would be that this is a kit. I'm going to say this is a kit. And that's what we renamed it. We're going to see the file momentarily here, but I wanted to get through this, right? So kit, and this is, one record is a collection of parts that are needed to perform a specific
type of service. Does that make sense to everyone? Does anyone have any questions about this?
No,
Okay.
oh yeah, no, today is SMS as well. No, I went and looked, so I spent a good chunk of my time both yesterday and today looking at the SMS system. The version of the sample file that we made in 2017. Parts of it work, parts of it do not work because SMS has become increasingly hostile, for lack of a better word, hostile territory. As time gets on, lots of people try to send a lot of spam, so they make things ever complicated, the kind of the way that email works. So we will be doing a stream on that, but it will not be for a while because I have to sit there and make the sample file work
Yeah,
again.
I apologize for everyone for that. I'm gonna have to. I owe some people apologies on that. I mean that seriously. I thought we could do it. So we use Twilio, and because of the ass, and I'm gonna say this with vehemence when I say the word assholes who send endless bullshit text messages, the companies that provide SMS services like Twilio and other companies are putting everyone through the meat grinder to validate that you are a real person. And so they just get carpet bombed with solar offers and everything else on the planet. And don't you feel lonely in life? You need solar panels on your roof. So the short version is SMS is you can do it, but you have to jump through some hurdles before they trust you, not that you're not a bad person. So we can't do it. It's not a 5-minute conversation. And if it's not a 5-minute conversation for us, it's going to be at least a 1-hour conversation to help all of you do it. So we've done previous shows on SMS. Those shows are out of date just because of all the requirements to authenticate that you're a real, like Hot Air Balloon wants to see notifications to the people on his team. They're going to want give him a colonoscopy and check, and then bend over and check for this, that, and the other thing to make sure he's a real person before they let him text message even a small group of people. So that's going to be a separate show. I do apologize for that. So, but yeah, Andrew, I'm sorry about the SMS. It's a great topic, but today's kind of an open Q&A. So I'm going to tell you what we discovered, how we fixed it, and then I'm going to let all of you ask questions. Okay. And if I can answer it in a reasonable amount of time, I will do it. Okay. So I've got my trusty. It's just a Monster Rehab, non-caffeinated. It's no sugar. I don't take a lot of sugar, but it's a lot of caffeine, so I'm prepared for the you're going to ask me for. So this is a kit. This is a kit. All this is a collection of I'm going to say this is what Margaret we call parts used in a kit, right? So these are the individual parts. These are the parts that are used actually on a job. Like if Hot Air Balloon Kid comes and says, hey, yeah, I go around and I pick up the hot air balloons. I got a trailer. After the hot air balloon crashes, then we run out there. We scrape up the bodies. We collapse the balloon, put the basket in the back of a trailer in our Toyota. So if Hot Air Balloon King goes for a service job, specific vehicle on a specific date, then that's what this is. Then the person would say, oh, Hot Air Balloon Kid's here. He needs a 30,000-mile service on his Toyota Tundra. And so they would click that button. It grabs all these items here and loads them into here. Ding, 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 back and forth. Now, the rub is, and what screwed us and what we realized yesterday was that the parts in here, if I come down here and move this down here for everyone, one record, is a part on a part that is included. There's a good word for you. Included on the kit. Okay, and so does it say does the word unique, is the word unique in here anywhere? No, the word unique is not in here. So then over here we came up with Margaret, what do we call this? We called this the part
master catalog.
Parts master catalog. And one record is a unique individual part, period. And the inventory control is going to work out of this area here anyway. Does that make sense? There we go. So inventory control will be right here. Because here we have it was a long serial number, but it was a 1-905, right? It has to do with the size of the rubber, right? The O-ring. We have to, so that's a specific, that'll only be in here once. However, every time the not 1-905 is used in a kit, which could be on a bunch of different Toyotas, it'll be over here. It's only here once,
but it'd be used every time over here to support this. And then if you actually decide that you're going to do a 30,000 mile service job, we're going to find all those parts, including the 1-905 or whatever it is, and put it over here. So here, one record is a part used on a specific service job. This is a part that's included in a kit as a reference. This is reference, like a reference. And this right here is the master catalog, so we can tell how many we have in inventory. Does that make sense? Do anyone have any questions about this? I'm going to show you the implementation of it. Yes, no, maybe.
I don't see any commentary or questions, so I assume that people are good.
Okay, so here's what we have. This is the parts master catalog. That's this, okay? Kit catalog, kit, okay, I'll put the word over here, catalog. Once again, a kit is a collection of parts that are needed to perform a service job. That's a really good definition there. And that is right there, okay? So here's this right here. It's just a list. And then this is where we have the inventory control right here. And all you're going to get this, as soon as I get to a point where I'm reasonably happy with it being done, I'm going to put a couple other little notes in it, and I'm going to put links in here to these videos, these 5 videos, these 5 days. Parts used in kits, right? So really at the end of the day, if I go to layout mode, I mean, I'd put it under here, but the screen's designed to expand to fit whatever size screen you have. So these two here are these two here, and then this one here is actually the one that's used in the project. So if I put this kind of over here for now, or up here for now, get it out of the way, I move projects over here. So these two go together, and put that out of the way. These two go together, are attached like this. These two go together here, attached like this, and then the one outlier sitting over here to the side, okay? That makes sense? Questions about that?
No.
Okay, so I go back to browse mode. That's how we save it. I'm going to go Command-Shift-D or File, Manage Database. I'm going to scroll down. We've updated this. So if we have a layout that's the kit catalog, it'll be based upon this. And for whatever reason, we decide that we needed to see the parts used in the kit catalog, which is like, duh, yeah, right? Then these are parts used in the kit, which is like if you wanted to have this and this are the same essentially, right? From the same base table, I'm pretty sure they should be. Parts using kit catalog, part using kit catalog. But this is the one that you would use if you had a layout that was really based on that, right? So once again, a core layout, a user navigation, navigatable layout, an important layout should be its own anchor. It should have its own anchor on its own table occurrence group. And then the things that attach to it are the things that support that. So parts used in project, right? I'm not sure there'll be a lot of reference here, but we might connect it to other things. We'll see, because we haven't fully built out the layouts and the parts master catalog, and there probably won't be too much on this as a general rule. Okay, so that's how we built these. Okay, now, Mark,
yes.
Question?
No.
Okay, because so what Margaret has, if I go over here to the kit catalog, so this is this right here. So we have, if I create a new kit, and I'm going to say, and see it says part library, Margaret, we need to fix that. This is the Toyota 60K service, Toyota, let's say, I need a different car. Camry, okay, 2012 Camry 60K service, right? There it is, 60K service, okay? So we need to add parts to this, right? So this right here is all the kits that we've created. These are all the kits that we created. There's not much data to them. There's a note, a kit ID. These are all the parts that are part of it. How do we add a part here? We need some way of pressing this button, having a list of parts come up, and then you could do a search for the part. Like if I type O-ring, O-ring, and so the goal is to give this to you and to make it as simple as possible with as little nick as necessary, right? And so up on this object right here are on object keystroke triggers. So every time I type in here, if I type in a script runs and does stuff. It's looking for a word that starts with A. There's A there, A. Oops.
Oh, that's an interesting bug, Margaret.
Well, because it's the button, right? So you can't really alter the name of it there. So when you click it, you have decided that you're going to add it.
Well, I get that, but if I watch what happened, I click, it didn't preserve the found set there up against that.
Oh, well, huh.
Yeah. I mean, if you're going to blow the found set out, you have to blow out the search term up here, right?
Oh, that's true. Okay.
Yeah, there's a bug. See how that works? So it's usability. So if I say cleaner, CL, there it is, right? Now, well, that's the only one, but say I just have C. If I click this, I need to highlight this one, and it's actually adding them over here. If I sneak over here, oh, it's a card style window. Margaret, on the card style window in the future, when you select it, make sure you gray out the area behind it, right? It'll be more obvious that way. Okay?
Oh, yeah.
So if I click this, it's going to add it over here. It'll turn blue, and then the found set should still say the same 3. Boop, but it does a show all. Okay, so with that in mind, I can close this. Now, one thing I like to do, and I will see this on our scripts, there's a problem there with the card style window. So remember, if you're over here doing stuff and you want to go to layout mode to fix this layout, it's hard to do. Once a card style window is kind of fundamentally locked, because remember, this is a layout and this is a layout on top of it. So when you go to layout mode, FileMaker isn't sure which one to show you, so it doesn't let you really do that. I'm going to close the window. I'm going to hold down the modifier key with my left hand. This is a starting point in a lot of places. On a lot of software, even Apple software, if you hold down Shift or Option or Control or whatever, and then you do something, you'll get a different behavior. It's really good for debugging. So I'm going to hold down the Option key, but it doesn't matter. I'm going to hit this button. It pops it in a separate window so I can still kind of wrestle back and forth. And I can come over here and go to layout mode and check and see how this works. So any questions about kind of what we're doing here? Does anyone have any questions about how this works or doesn't work?
I was going to point out something which I think that we need to do because I'm
okay.
If we go to parts used on project.
So I'm going to go to home. I'm going to go to parts used on project. Okay, yes.
Yes. When you screw with this on the actual I guess we should have gone to projects where the tab, when you like make decisions in inventory, it needs to affect the master catalog. I don't know how you'd set up that relationship.
All it is, remember, there's no relationship to it. We didn't use relationships.
So you wouldn't need a relationship. You would just need to rechange the scripts so that the.
So let's talk about this structurally. Ken, once again, a lot of you. Okay, so here's the deal. So when we're on this continuum of learning, a lot of people start here, they start here, they get to this point here as their skills get better. Then there's a performance slowdown. We've talked about this quite a few times. And then there's things you need to do, certainly starting in here and moving forward for performance tuning. So Larry the Marine does a lot of development, I think locally on his own systems, but I think Larry still does the minor league baseball software system. I believe that's the case. Larry, are you still doing that? I'm just going to look for a yes or no. I don't want to talk about it if you're not really doing it. But the point is that
said yes.
He says yes. Okay, great. So the short version is that Larry is a perfect example of this. Larry is somewhere between an intermediate to an advanced developer. And whenever I talk to him, I'm never really quite sure where he's at. He has little silos of knowledge that are like super ninja. And then there's some more basic things he doesn't know or he forgot, right? Whatever. But he's building a solution, and he built it for minor league team, and then other minor league teams or however that worked went, oh, say that's a really nice solution. Can we use that too? And Larry, of course, being the helpful public servant that he is, and I'm not in any way being flip. He's a freaking Marine. So he goes, of course, you can take this and put it on a FileMaker server. So then along the way, Larry probably ran into performance issues, which gets into this conversation of performance tuning. This over here is the inventory control. We talked about this, how many you need, and then how many you pulled or you've taken delivery of. Somehow you've totally taken delivery. Quantity used totally so far, and that affects the inventory. Well, you could try to concoct this with calculations. It would be a nightmare, and the performance would suck once you started getting into hundreds of thousands, if not millions of records. The only way to have high-speed performance is to understand that when you learn basic things in FileMaker, some of it
might not, I mean, it's good that you know it, but how you have a total of, give me a total of all the related records is a calculation that can be a performance bottleneck when it gets to a bigger solution. So everything we do at this level, we try to make sure that we write a script that runs and it fires precisely when we want it to. So if I'm over here and I change this inventory number that I have over here and I change it to 12, as soon as I tab 1, 2, 3 tab, it ran a script that did all the balancing in that little slice of time. And all the data is now cached and is available and is current and it's accurate. It's accurate. No additional calculations are needed. So we make little investments as we go in the scripting. So in here, if we look at the script, understand that the inventory controls, if I come back over here, not to this one, inventory controls are going to be handled in here. This didn't exist 2 days ago. This is kind of new. This is where we're, so this screen here, this is this screen here. The parts we're using is in here, this portal right here, which is this right here. And as we interact and use things here, it needs to adjust the inventory, not through here. We don't give this is done. We will never, on this work order, never use these two things again. All this was a shortcut for an auto enter of a list. We auto populate a list. That's all it did. It doesn't do anything more useful than that. In fact, yeah, it doesn't do anything more useful than that. So the inventory control is really kind of this thing where it's going to talk from here around this and back over here. If I want to draw it, I might draw it a little more differently because it seems like it can only go through there. And that's how it works to where you populate it. But once you start doing inventory control, really this should be kind of under here. So it could, this can, actually, that's okay. That's a, okay, hang on. This is a 1-to-1 here. Because one record here will be representative of one record here. Okay, makes sense, right? It's a specific O-ring or something. One, now technically there could be multiples over here. So I guess it makes sense it would be multiples there, but really on the individual work order, you wouldn't have that. So, but if you look at it holistically, okay, I see what someone just commented this to me. So there'll only be one O-ring here. If you have multiple jobs where the O-ring was used, then on each of those jobs, then there would be multiple entries over here. Fine, okay. Now, the same thing with the O-ring over here. If this O-ring is used on the Toyota Tundra, right, but it's also used on a Camry and something else, right? Then it would be, so it'd be multiples there too. That makes sense? So that's really kind of what this looks like. So it can go through here. So all this is over here is an auto population of this list, as simple as possible. Okay, so what Margaret just said now is that, well, we're doing inventory balancing over here, but really the inventory balancing should be over here. So what we have to do is we have to look at the script that we did that. So if we're in the middle of a solution, we don't remember what the scripts are. Okay, I'm gonna turn that off. That was the who was that? That was someone just asking me about.
Andrew had questions about script triggers and how they would activate on the layout management.
Yeah, and rolling them all up at one time. Yeah. So we're just gonna do them individually because it's so fast. And the thing is, you could have a million billion. I'm Austin Powers moment. 1 billion records in here, and 500 users. That speed of that right there will be almost the same. That little, because the code is not aggregating anything, or the aggregation is if actually it's not aggregating. It's not totaling anything up. All it's taking is a current value and decrementing it up or down, right? So let's take a look at this script. I'm going to say script debugger, turn that on. Everyone knows your tools menu is on over here. How's your tool menu is on? FileMaker Pro settings. Go over here to advanced tools, check it on, and then quit FileMaker and reopen it. It requires don't restart the computer, but quit FileMaker. Don't close, back up. If I close the window here, did that quit FileMaker? Did that quit FileMaker? No, FileMaker's still running. You close the database, the FileMaker's out. You have to quit FileMaker, the app, reopen it, okay? Then you're going to open your solution, okay? So here's our solution again, okay?
It's going to run the startup script. The script debugger there is telling it to go. It runs. I'm going to go over here to projects. I'm going to hit play. Okay, I'm going to come over here, click in here. No script is fired. I'm going to change this to 1.5. I'm going to tab. It's going to run this script to just one specific item from the project data entry screen. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to tell the little edit right here, pops the edit screen. This script, Margaret, needs a number, so we know it's the G151413 script or whatever. Okay, so what we're saying is that this was designed to take the number here and adjust it here, but we don't care about the numbers in here at all. There's something we don't care about. So we're going to fix it. So first thing we're doing is that we're at the point where we run this script right here, our context is we're still in that field right there. The script trigger fired was on exit or validate or whatever we selected right here. We're going to give this file to you, everyone, so it's not like we're keeping it from you. We're going to give this file. So what does it do? It says set a variable. Set another variable, so it sets the three things we need to know is what project we're on by the project ID, what let's see, part item, line item. Yeah, project ID, the item that we're on, the item of this right here, okay, which is the number right here, and it has a 3 on it, but it's not. Yeah, it's a 3.5.
It's 3.9. Yeah, actually, the problem is we don't want that though.
Yeah, and also part of it when we redid this, we got rid of the word library, right? So yeah, so we need to edit this. So if the script's running over here and we start editing over here, what happens, right? If we change something, what happens? Oh, it takes the change here, but the script's still running. If I go over here to save the script, I hit Command or Control S. I'm going to save it. In order to save it here, it has to halt execution over here. Yes, halt execution. So now the script isn't running anymore. I'm going to come over here. So we have the part. Is that what we want to do? We want to say part used, right?
In kit, yeah. But the problem is that we don't want to mess with the stuff in kits. So we don't even want.
So we want the part.
We'd want the master ID, but I don't know if it has.
Master, okay, ID. Okay, great. So we're going to want that, okay, which is fine. Save that for the moment. But, okay, new window. Okay, I'm going to stop this over here from running. I don't need to see that anymore. What I want to do is I want to see the parts used in kits, right? So we want to go to this one right here. Is that a good one right there? So these are parts used in the in the kit. So the data when we select a kit, did you fix this, right? So we select a kit. So when we select this, it's gonna find the correct kit and then load the records over. So Margaret made an improvement here. So this is the available kits, right? These are the kits, and it's gonna load them over. Okay. What we're going to do is I'm going to close them. I'm going to create a new record over here. I'm going to go to parts, and I'm going to tell it I'm just going to run it for what it is right now. It ran. So it ran these over here. Now we have the part library. Okay, so that label, I don't know if that field is correct. If I go to layout mode, this is what we're doing is just a general cleanup and fixing stuff. I don't have a scroll control on the bottom of my window. Anyone see the scroll control down here?
Left. I saw it for a brief moment in time, and then it left you.
All right. So system settings. If I go to where's general, you could force it to always show the scroll bar. There you go. See that right there, everyone on the Mac?
Oh, that's how you fix that. Okay.
Mm-hmm. So I leave it always on so I can see it. Thank you very much. So once again, this is the project. These are the parts used on the project or the job. Double click this. Parts used on projects, T16V. Okay. What is this called? Parts used in kit. Parts used in the kit. So this is the part used. That's the primary key. This is where it came from. Parts used in kit. Does that make sense? And that's the project foreign key, so it knows where it belongs to. This number right here, if I hit cancel, we go back to what was in here. And this is probably where we have one of our little issues here. It's auto-populated from, it's part and kit. But okay. Well,
but we don't want that. We want the part master catalog ID.
I think, okay, back up. So having this is, okay, back up.
So let's draw a picture here. We were over here. We didn't have any parts. We selected the Toyota. It grabbed the parts and brought them over. It didn't talk to this at all. It grabbed them from over here. Okay. So then that number there is the number. We're looking at this. We're looking at the record here. We see the number there. That's that number there. Okay. Everyone's on the same page. So what we've got is this problem where I don't necessarily think that's a bad thing to have, but I don't necessarily need it right here. So what I'm going to go is I'm going to go to File, Manage, Database. And kind of what we're doing is we're establishing the lineage of where the part came from. So the parts used on a project is this. Parts used on project is this. Let me go to fields. Let me go to fields here. Projects, we say parts master catalog. So part master catalog is very basic. Parts master catalog. Do we care that it's in a library somewhere, Margaret? No, I don't. No. That's, yeah, we don't want that. Foreign key. They can't.
Oh, yeah, that doesn't make any sense.
Delete. Go away. Yeah, fix that. So ID part master, that's your primary key. Because remember, this is the top of the food chain, right? It's the top of the food chain.
I guess a lot like the parts in kit catalog should have a parts master foreign key.
Well, if we go back over here, that thing's spinning away. We want to, when we get this loaded over here, there's a primary key here. It belongs in there, and it also gets forwarded to there. So then these two can talk directly going forward. It's the whole idea. Does that make sense, everyone?
So that means, a relationship that doesn't exist needs to now exist, I think.
There's no relationship. Had nothing to do with relationships. We're scripting all this. There's no relationships. I am showing you kind of hierarchically how these work. It doesn't mean that we have to have a relationship here. Because that's a technical mechanism, okay? If I have the ID here and I have an ID over here, I can script it to grab this and go here and perform a find. That can be vastly faster than running through a relationship. When you have millions of records, it can be vastly faster. Okay, so I understand that you're saying there's a connection, but when you say define a relationship, you're saying come over here and put a relationship in there. And we don't put a relationship on the diagram unless we need it on the layout.
Well, the thing is I'm confused about is that parts used in kit, like it needs to be able to store the master catalog ID of the one that it ripped off. So are you just having a field with that information
okay, just
stored
stop.
in it?
Yeah, you're jumping ahead and you're confusing me and you're confusing other people.
Okay.
So just hold for a second. This is what happened yesterday, which is good. So this is, so Margaret's getting confused. This is a pretty ugly topic. I don't know where we're at with other people. Hello. So this item here currently has the number from here. It needs the number from here. To get the number from here, we had to make sure, because remember, these are the same damn O-ring. Same damn O-ring. So, but we'd like to know the master number so we can go and find it and adjust the inventory. Okay. So I'm gonna go back into field definitions. I'm gonna go to fields. Okay. I'm gonna go to the parts master catalog. Okay. So we have a field called ID part master. And it's got a serial number that's called part master. There it is. Okay, great. Now I'm gonna go to the parts used in kits. Part kit catalog. That's a foreign key. Parts. Okay, we don't have a field. The field's not in here, right? This is the primary key right here. I'm going to put primary on here just so everyone's really clear on this. That's the primary key. Okay, so the foreign key. So we're looking right now at this. We want the ID from here and here. It has to be ID part, and that would be the master catalog, right? Underscore foreign key. Okay, so we have to create that. So then now the master field's here, the foreign key's here, it gets populated in here, okay, which is important. And then when we come over here onto this one, that we need that field, this same field here, we're going to need it both places. So it's parts, master, catalog, underscore foreign. So I go over here, parts used on project, ID, parts, used in kit, part used primary. Here's the primary key right here. Okay. Foreign key, work order, project, work order. Yeah, that's unnecessary there, but that's fine. So what was it called, Margaret? It was called parts, master.
Catalog foreign key.
Master catalog foreign key. Great. So now we have the fields. So the fields are now, so hit OK as it figures this out. Come over here if it lets me. So the master here is a primary key here, but we have the foreign key on both locations, okay? When we are on this screen here and we're saying, let's look at the kit catalog, great. Let's add an item to the kit catalog, okay? Now what I'm gonna do on this before I get too far along, this is layout 34 alpha. I'm gonna come over here and I'm gonna say I want the ID, I want the primary key just because I want to see the primary key, okay? Just trust me, I want to see how this is going. That's kind of stupid and super. Can I make that smaller? There we go. There's that one. Then there, and I put these on here. I wouldn't show them to the customer. So then we have the master catalog, and most of these will be blank because we probably haven't scripted it yet to bring these over, okay? So part of this is just trying to keep this straight in your own head, if that makes any sense, okay? So primary key, ID part in kit, primary key, get, yeah, okay, let's try browse mode, okay? So it's this is the primary key, so it auto-populates, okay? Now, when we run this script over here, if I say script debugger, I'm gonna click over here, that's fine, I'm gonna run that down. Margaret, is this other script generally functional? Eastman 10 quarts of oil. I hit that. Step. Okay, so you have the selected part, ID parts. Oh, you actually have it in here, Margaret, kind of.
We caught it, but I didn't put it anywhere.
Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and tell it to stop. Close that. I want this window to close here. Can I close? See, it's so ginormous, it's hard to get out of it. Okay, so what script is that called, Margaret, when we run this over here?
It's 4803.
4003, this one right here?
No, 48. 48. So no, go back up. It's underneath the parts line items kit catalog searching master catalog.
Okay, 4803. Okay, so when we start these processes, this pops the card style window. This allows us to manage the little searchy thing at the top. Okay, so let me go ahead and I'm going to hold the modifier key down. I'm going to say open. So that ran what, 48.0. It ran that one.
Yep.
Then if we screw with this right here, that's going to run 48.0. This one right here.
Yep.
4003 is when we're selecting things. Okay, now we select something. And there's some notes up here. I don't know those notes are valid. So once again, this is why we're going to fix this before we go out. Selected parts name. So we get that from the parts catalog. So because this list right here is the master parts catalog. We're trying to load once again for everyone. And I keep repeating myself partly to keep it straight in my head. We're on this. We want to add some parts. We're pulling parts out of here is what we're doing. This is the overall layout. Here, the portal is feeding from data from here. Okay, yes. Okay, so we're over here. This is the script. We select an item. It's going to set $selected part name from the T40, but the problem is are these being driven? Oh, we're on a list view. We're on a list view.
We're in a list view, yeah. That we are in the layout that is attached to T40. So.
Okay, so that's the correct context. So we are T4. So with you guys, the part name, part number, part master ID. So you're already grabbing that, right? Part master ID.
I grabbed the ID, but I haven't put it into a field yet. If you read the second half of this.
I will get there. But I can't jump ahead because no one else wrote this. You're the only one here who knows how this works. Okay. So the rest of us are trying to figure out what you did, Margaret. Okay. So I always like it. Just jump to the end, right? Except no one else is going to be like, what the hell did she do? I don't know. Dollar list. Okay. So this right here is I'm just going to make a note here. I'll just say auto blue highlight. This is the kind of the Nicky part of it. So this is this line right here is the auto blue highlight right there. So if you get rid of that, then the line won't turn blue after you select it. I'm turning it blue so you know you already added it, if that makes sense, okay? Then we freeze a window. We pop a new window called, we set the window name. We have a new window. Okay, this is where so we're going to create the new actual parts used in kit. Okay, fine. Okay, then we create a new record and we set the ID of the kit, ID kit. Did we set that up here?
That is grabbed in 4801, which is why it's a global variable.
Okay, 4801, dollar selected part name. It's going to paste that in, paste that. Yeah, so we need the line that puts the master number in here, right? So I'm going to select this. I'm on parts using kits. We should have the ID. There's the foreign key, the parts master catalog right there. That's what we needed. So we grabbed the data here. We came up here. We create a new record here. Create a new record. Ding, 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 ding. And then what we're doing is making sure that while we're in here, we're also setting its original number here so we can go back and deal with it, right? If you weren't doing inventory control or anything like that, you wouldn't have to worry about, but it's like, if you send your kindergartner to school, and they all have the, similar first names, Alan, Rick, 5 Steves in the class, 2 Michaels in the class. If they don't have the last name, no one knows who this kid is, right? You may not get your kindergartner back from school, okay? Because they don't have a last name. This basically gives it a last name and ID so we can hunt it down and do that. So we have catalog there. And then we need to change this to dollar selected master ID there, that one there, okay? So when we create the new record, we tell it the kit it belongs to, its name, its part number, which is, and then its actual master number. And the reason we need the master number, not here so much, we need it here. We don't really use it here. We need it here so if it gets dumped over here, it started here as a primary key, goes a foreign key. When it gets copied over here, it becomes another foreign key over here. That way this here and this here can talk to each other directly. That makes sense. Because all this is, once again, is a mechanism to help auto create a list. Once a list is created that we don't give a shit about, we could delete this, okay? We don't need it. Once a list is created, we don't care. Once a list is created, then if we want to do inventory control, we're playing with these 3 right here. These items right here, with a scripts, not with a relationship, with scripts, is what allows us to do inventory control. So now we've got that on there. So this should work, right, Margaret? Is that what we're thinking?
Yes. Well, part of it will work. I don't know if...
Do we want to try?
Yes.
Okay, so we're over here, and I want to add a power shaft boot seal assembly. Man, I told you guys about power shafts. You got to grease the power shaft. Okay, I'm going to get the power shaft boot. I'm going to click on it once, click. Okay, so it turned blue. It got added over here. Now, this one here, for the first time, because the script ran, has the master number on it. So this one here can go and talk. We're on this, can come down here and talk to this one. That makes sense? That's a big deal. So Margaret, that looks complete to me. Is it missing something?
I think that the other chunk of the search might not copy the ID over. Because this ID needs to be copied in 2 places, right?
Oh yeah, we put it in the kit. All right, so what we need to do is then when we we're building the kit catalog. So let me drop out of here. Of course I'm going to close it. I just pushed myself out of the solution. So that's a usability issue there. We were talking about we were on a screen here where we were adding items and adding them here. Now, if we're over here, we're on a project. I'm going to create a new project called the Evil Mick Widget Pro model, because I always like a Pro model. Sounds like it's more worth more money. Okay, then I want to add, and then we want to, so what script does this run here, Margaret?
That is 4001, 4002, and 4003.
So if I go to scripts, that's these, so these scripts here powered and fed this process here to create that. These other 3 scripts are going to power the process from identifying the item here, then sucking these items over here in. Okay, so we want to, that'll work for now.
we're going to do is we're going to look at, so this one allows us to see the list, okay? This allows us to narrow the list, but we really don't have a problem with that. Then we have copy the list over, right? And we need the ID kit name, the ID kit catalog. And then it runs a loop, right? It does the loopy thing.
It does the loopy thing.
So we need to, as we're looping and grabbing the list from here, I'm bringing them over, looping back and forth. We need to make sure we're bringing across the parts master, right? Correct?
Yes, we just need to add, I think, 2 things here.
Part master catalog. I'll say number, whatever. I'll say okay. Oh, but that's here. It's T35, so we don't want T35. You want T35. T35 right there. And then we want to grab the ID part master catalog foreign key. There we go. Great. So we put that. So now we've captured it on the, remember we talked about copy, paste. I'm saying the word copy, paste so people are clear on that, but the copy process is actually all these items here constitute the copy. Okay. So we copied it, right? Yeah. Then we're going to come down here and paste it. So I'm going to come down here. I'm going to say 36. I'm going to come over here to project ID parts catalog, that one there. And then I'm going to paste in that variable I just created right there. So I think we've done it now. Okay.
I think we should be good. So if you go set a new set.
Go to parts, add a new set. Let's get the Toyota 60. Boom. Yeah. So
we haven't added that.
We haven't added to this layout yet. So what I'm going to do, so on this screen right here, we're this, once again for everyone, we're up here. That's the job. This portal is this item right here. And then this item here should see, just because it might be useful in the future, I want to see the primary key of this one here. And also, for sure, I need to see the primary key here so I can adjust the inventory. I'm keeping the primary key here just because, why not? We're already doing this and I might need it in the future, so why not? I'm going to go to notes. I'm going to go to parts. I need to add the other part in here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to roll this up a little bit, or I'm going to just make it a little bit smaller for the time being. I'm going to say 7. I'm going to roll this down just a smidge like that. And so there's these 2 numbers that are going to be side by side here, right? So let's see how that looks like that. Browse. Okay, so did it not bring it over? Or did that field not populate?
Because that parts kit, the kit catalog was created using the old system, so it didn't have any master ID attached to it yet. So we need to go make a new fresh kit catalog.
Good God. So yeah. All right, so I'm going to go home here. I got to create a new kit catalog. We already have the Toyota Camry, but it's if you're in the Camry right here, right? Notice it's missing those items here, right? We could put them in, but we'll just create a new one. It's going to be is Prius a Honda or is that Toyota? Who makes the Prius?
That's a good question.
Toyota Prius? I think it's Toyota.
Yeah, Prius, Toyota. Yeah.
A priestess. Okay. That sounds like it could be supernatural powers in your small cars. Priestess 2005, 120K service. Okay, now I'm going to come over here. I say add parts. We definitely have an O-ring. It's going to take 10 quarts of oil because it's a gas guzzling. It definitely has a power shaft, and the power shaft's going to fall off if we don't grease the power shaft. Okay, clear? I'm going to say, all right, Margaret, when I hit the escape key, we got a better way of it gracefully exiting. So now look, it has so we're over here. We copied the items up here. This is the primary key, but this right here is the master. Okay, so now if I go back to home, I go back to projects. I have a new project. We're going to do, who's here today with us? We have is it Stu here? Stu's here. So Stu just bought a Prius, something like that, or priestess, whatever. 120K service. Okay, great. So what we're going to do is we're going to come over, and I want to preload the parts in here. We reference a kit. What kits do we have? Hey, here's a kit down here. It's a 2005. Shocking, it's ready to go. Press the button. And there you go. You've got, so once again, this overall record is this up here. The portal is showing the parts actually used on the project. This is where we'd say, I had 5 and I had 6 and I had 3 and whatever, okay? And then, so I'm just going to say, you know, what, and there, okay? So there we got some parts needed. But now because we loaded this record here knows what kit the part it came from over here. I don't think we need it, but we might, but we definitely need the bottom one, which is this number here. Why? Because the script that does the balance, remember over here, there could be a whole bunch of those O-rings. How can you tell what the inventory is? You have no idea. Over here, there'll only be one record for that O-ring, and that is your inventory. That's where you want to balance your inventory, okay, right here. So if I go back to the script, I go script debugger, and I'm going to say, parts pull. We found 3 parts, and I tab. It's going to run this script. I'm going to edit this script. And what we're going to do is when we want the variable master ID. Let's see. What are we doing right here? Oh, yeah. So we have the master ID, but that's a wrong foreign key right there, right, Margaret? It's grabbing the master ID, but that's not the master ID is not the part number using
Oh, yeah. Wrong foreign key. Okay.
Wrong foreign key. So we come over here. Remember, once again, this is why I have this diagram.
Oh, you're in the wrong
here.
table. You need to go to T16V.
Victor, not, it sounds like you said Bravo. So there we go, right? So we're here. We're going to grab that one there. So we come over here, we come down here, ID, master catalog there, BAMO. Okay, we hit OK. Then we're going to go there, new window. Go to layout, parts using kits, wrong. We want to go to layout, the master part catalog, like this one. Is that one okay, Margaret, I guess?
Probably. Yeah, that's fine.
Probably. Okay, we hit that one, okay. Okay, then we're going to say error capture, perform a find. Not in that field. We want to perform a find. We're on the master catalog. We want to perform a find in the ID part master. That's cool. Then we want to paste in the where we stuck that, but it's the part, something about, is it, it's right there, dollar master ID. Okay, there we go. Does that make sense? So we're doing a search for that. So once again, I lost my spot. Over here, we're writing a script here that grabbed the values here. It popped a new window from here. It's doing a search to find that part. Okay, it's doing a search to find that part. Perform the find. Error in case there was no part there or the record was locked. We had a couple error checks here. Set field dollar. That's fine. That's a fail. And then down here, this is where we set the. We've got to go down to here. Okay, we have the quantity in stock. Okay, so now we're setting. We were setting a quantity. The quantities over here should be removed, Margaret. We need to make those go away. Okay.
Yes.
Okay, because that's confusing. So with quantity in stock equals that one minus that one. That logic's all the same.
Oh, we need to change the T35 bit.
Yeah, so it's the T. Yeah, what we're doing is we're starting with the current inventory level. So when we say adjust inventory, take the current inventory level and adjust it up or down based upon what the user just did. So once again, major concept for this, we're not running an aggregated total of the whole system. This is a high performance item. We're taking the current total we had because we assume it's accurate, because we are good programmers and we keep it accurate. And then we're going to adjust it up or down a little bit by whatever the user decided that they pulled, okay? And so I'm going to change this. We're on 40. We want to go down to parts used, was it quantity in stock there? So there we go. So we do that, okay? We got that. And then it checks to see if anything happened. 215 parts new, parts old, that was all good. Close window. Update this other thing. Yeah, I think that's all good right there. So now here's, save, please save. I'll halt the other script. Yeah, thank you. Now, here's an important concept. I'm just going to say stop. Let's come over to a new window, and I'm going to pop, just for shits and giggles, we're going to go over here to the master catalog, and this is where we have the quantity here, right? So what we're doing is we're looking at the O-ring. It's a 1-226, which is a real part. 1-226 is this one right here. I think it's 0, 0, 0. Okay, that is it. So we're going to take 3. But what over here before, I'm going to start with 10. Well, let's put 20. Where's it at? Oh, it's right here. Let me say 30. So we're going to take 3, so that should go down to 27, okay? I'm going to come over here. I'm going to tab out. There it is. So we fixed that. So the master catalog, the item down here at the bottom, manages inventory. We had a couple inventory fields over here. We should get rid of those fields because that will cause confusion. So if we go to parts using the kit catalog, there should be no quantity in stock there. That was how we said originally, but it's a bad design. As using one,
Well, you fixed one of the scripts, you haven't fixed the other one.
I'll let you fix that one. How about that? That make you
Yes.
feel better? Good. Okay. Questions about what we're doing? Like once again, yes.
We have one about basically from RC Jet Jockey. Hello.
Hello.
If you hear a cat screaming, that's because mine is losing her mind. Question, maybe a bit beyond the scope of what we're talking about. If a particular part became obsolete and a new part replaced and is added to the master parts, how would the catalogs be updated to reflect that, to replace the obsolete parts? So let's say O-ring oil cap got recalled.
This happens all the time. Say they find that a super widget is in there and is defective. And then so what the way it works with Bell is that they'll actually that's off a Bell 204 Huey, okay? That is the aircraft model number, that's the part number, that is the version number right there. So say that they decide that they're going to go to a -6. So they've got a new version. So we're in the master, because the start of the master catalog. So where was that 204? Where was that at? Here it is right here. Mm-hmm. So what this is going to be, well, we'd say this is going to be deprecated. Okay. Maybe a flag or something or whatever. And then
make like a flag for it, right? So
you could. And then I'm going to duplicate it, and now this is going to, and they always tend to switch, like it's odd, like it's 1357. So the next number they would use is like .7. So this would be the new one. This is the new as of today's date. Okay. Current change has been canceled out. I'm not sure what that is. Can I? There we go. Okay, great. So it's updated in here. So if you actually look at if you do the search for this right here, then you'd find version 5, version 6. I'm just telling you how this would be handled in helicopter aviation. So then you're like, oh, we need to know about the blah, 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 blah. We need to update the kit catalog. Okay, well, where was it used? It's used in the...
Might be used in the Toyota Priestess? No?
Yeah, it's right here. So here it's used right here. So what we do is we would delete this, right? Which I don't think is going to probably work. Yeah, so you delete this item here, and you'd go ahead, add right here, and you'd find the new one, but on this, Margaret, we actually need to see the official part number on it. Oh, yes. There. Okay, we can see it right there based upon the name, but we want to see the part number. I'd select it. It got added. I'm going to bring this down so I can close it out. Close.
Okay. Now it's been did it not add it?
I'm confused.
It
What
should
just
have.
happened?
It's supposed to add it right there. Okay.
It has been adding it.
Did I not? Let's see, script debugger. Let's just watch it. When it does something unsavory, click, some Margaret's contents, click. Those are all local variables. That got set. That obviously, the highlight worked. Click, actual parts used in kit. Okay, so that's the actual parts used in kit. Okay, new record, paste. It did it right there. Paste, close. It added it, and it's got the kit 26. Is this up here? Is this kit 20? Okay. I think it didn't refresh, Margaret. I think all that is a failure to refresh.
Oh.
I think. Okay, now it did 2 of them because we're doing a script debugger. So a classic case, everyone. So it worked correctly, but the screen didn't refresh. So if you have a situation where you do something, and I want to add, I'm going to do script debugger again. I'm going to add this, then I'm going to tell it to step into it. I'm going to go to edit that. I'm going to do one and tell it to stop. And you're going to come down. Well, there's a lot of other code in here. I'm not going to get rid of that. So you got show all records, new record request. Does it close the window? Is that what it did? It pops a new window, does it. Then it closes the window. Okay, then you need to do back up. You name the portal and you refresh the portal is what we're going to do, okay? So the portal name, you can give the portals a name, okay? Go to portal, give it a name. Discrepancy portal. This would be called Scooby. How do you spell Scooby? Scooby-Doo.
Yeah, there you go.
Scooby.
It's a Y. There you go.
Do, D-O-O?
Yeah, Duo.
Scooby-Doo is the name of this object right here, okay? Now, when I come back over to the script, I'm going to get done down here. It says show all records, and I don't know why it's going to show all records. It shouldn't. And
That's
freeze
probably
window.
a holdover from the old
That's a
script.
holdover. So what we want to do now is we want it to tell it to refresh object, and the object's name is Scooby-Doo. Save, close. So when it's done running, it's going to be back on this window. It should refresh Scooby-Doo. So let's add another item over here. We'll go through the add process. We're going to add, I'm going to close that. I'm going to say, I'm going to abort. We'll try it again. I want to, the script debugger, when it pops open, gives FileMaker extra emphasis to refresh itself, right? So we want to make sure that if I'm going to add okay, someone put the cat in here. So we're going to add Margaret's cat as an accessory item. Click on it, close it, and it refreshed right there. See that? And it didn't blink, it didn't flash, but it forced it to acknowledge that the Scooby-Doo object named Scooby-Doo. I name things arbitrarily so you folks understand that it doesn't matter what the name is. Okay, but there can only be one Scooby-Doo on a layout. You can have Scooby-Doo 2, 3, 4, 5, but there only can be one Scooby-Doo. So when you say go to this object, refresh this object, do with this object, it knows definitively who you are. Make sense? Questions?
The same thing happens if you use a different manufacturer, but same part, and you happen to have stock for both vendors.
Well, I can just tell you that if there's nothing wrong with the part, this have a new one, there's no like recall on or anything, then the service company will use the old ones up first, then they'll switch out and use the new ones. But once again, you're asking about processes, right? I mean, this is the way I would handle it, but I don't know. It's less. You're asking less of a FileMaker question, more of a what is their workflow, and then if they have a special workflow, then you'd have to replicate it in FileMaker. But I kind of
if you keep track of manufacturers, you'd have to have like the master catalog. It'd be what, 2 separate parts, and then would depend on manufacturer, I guess.
We're back to that question. Is that RC Jet Jockey again? We're back to that.
That would be Rick Fosnot, actually.
Oh, he asked a question. Okay, so With this demo, we are not subdividing the items in here. This was a question that came up yesterday. Someone said, well, I want to see all the manufacturers from here. And then as part of this kit, right? So all these are bell parts, and these are all from spruce, from some generic O-ring company, probably a petroleum company that punches out O-rings, right? Plastics company, right? Does this stuff. If you want to segregate, okay, so back up. If you wanted to have the manufacturer, okay, let's just talk about this out loud. You can do. I'm going to just tell you straight up. There's 3 ways of doing it. Okay. There's 3 ways to make this work. Okay. And you have to pick the one that is nice enough for you that you can afford to do. Because the nicer these get, the more expensive this gets from a developer or time commitment standpoint. So if I come over here to this and I say parts used in kit catalog, and I say, is manufacturer even in here? Manufacturer is not. So I say assuming that this is important, manufacturer, something like that. Create text field. Okay. So we have it. Parts used in kit catalog. There we go. Hit OK. Parts in kit catalog. So then I would do part manufacturer. So we put manufacturer right here. Okay. So here's your kit, and you could sort by this if you wanted to, right? Bell, and then I'll say Unical 76 or something. They make a lot of petroleum stuff. I don't think I spelled them correctly. So that is how I would handle it and sort by that if the customer, because this customer doesn't want to invest a ton on stuff, okay? Well, I want the bells to be very separated from the unicals, fine. So you could create different relationships here, like a portal here and a portal here and a portal here for each of the categories if you had them. So yesterday wasn't so much about manufacturer, it was about where the parts were located, like it was parts on the rotor head or parts here, parts there. It's basically a sub-summary category, okay? There's no automatic sub-summaries based in a portal. It doesn't exist. So the answer became one, Margaret, didn't we do a search for hierarchical portal tree? Right? We've had videos on that over the years.
Yeah.
It'll probably show up with how to create conditional hierarchical a simple portal tree. This is okay. Let me help you with this. This is Matt Petrowski, who's like Kyle Williams, different version of Kyle Williams. There's no thing as a simple portal tree, okay? But in their mind, it's simple. It's so simple, okay? No. And then here we did portal trees right here. So we did this as one of our videos down here. You can come out and check this out. It's just a pain in the ass to do. And is it really important to you? I don't know. You have to decide how important it is to you. But there are no sub-summaries like where you have a black line in here and you have a grouping of sub-summary. We've done it with Big Valley where we actually have records that are, instead of the parts, we have like different subsections in it. It's been a real pain in the ass to support it. And I don't know that the customer appreciates it. I thought it helpful to like break like the labor apart like that. So we have that kind of in there. If I go to the real database, I'll show you. We did do this for this customer, but I did it because when I went through and did the maintenance on an aircraft, if I go and do a search for, browse, let me just pick one here. Let me do a find November. Where's the in number?
Number is there. Yep.
So when I first did like the first one on this thing, when we did the deep annual on this thing, this says 94 discrepancies, but what you'll see is you scroll down here, see that looks like a subsummary, right? I built records that would be what we call title records. And all these little things you see here, these are indicators from me. The customer, this is really a busy, ugly interface. When you log in with their credentials, they don't see this, okay? But they can see these. It's what we call a title section here. So if the title section, it makes it bold, okay? It's kind of a sub-summary, but FileMaker doesn't know it's actually a sub-summary. Forward doghouse, main rotor transmission forward. I thought this was super useful, but the customer doesn't give a shit. it turns out that, once again, I think it's important, but they didn't. So this is mid doghouse turbine section. Then you'll have the aft scroll fan collar, tail boom and tail, right? That's the part that ripped off that deal in New York. It went, right? Ripped off. Why? We don't know. Passenger compartment, broom closet, hat rack. Okay. So I built these, but this is a very limited sort of sub-summary. But what you have to do is you have to have a way of sorting it over here with a custom sort number. So I enforce this sort number over here. I could hide the sort number. In fact, normally I do hide it from the customer. Okay. And that way,
to be honest, the fact that we haven't hidden this one has caused us problems.
yeah. So they're like, well, I don't want the customer to see this. The customer's never going to see this. So yeah, but you can't do this. There's different ways of doing it. This to me was the lowest, the simplest way of doing it in terms of implementation. So all you have to do is you set these up, and then if you want to add something in a record in here, you have to have a script that ends. So I have a script that says insert discrepancy, and I press it right here. It figures out the difference between that number there and that number there, and it jams it in there. So if I hold the Option key down and I hit insert discrepancy, it's going to do this, and it hands it off to the server. Server does it, and then it comes back to us, and that's what it just did there. There it is. It inserted
Yep.
it.
Okay.
So, interesting.
It is. Yeah. Thanks, Richard and Margaret. Interesting. Gets you thinking. I am glad. I do want to address Andrew's earlier novel thing real fast.
Okay, go ahead.
Mostly because I'm going to say something, and if I'm full of crap, I need you to tell me that I am.
Okay. What's his question? Is it Discord?
Basically, he wants to create something in FileMaker that allows him to write a novel. My problem with that, and the reason I have not made that for myself, is because of the way that information is saved in a FileMaker record. If you type something and you fail to tab out appropriately, or you make... I would be wary about the fact that you could type whole paragraphs of stuff and then it wouldn't save properly, and so you'd lose the information. For most writing programs will save the letter as you type it. Like the one that I use right now, like I can type a letter and it's saved as you type it. But like if you type whole paragraphs of stuff and you do not commit properly, which I have done before in CMS on like records occasionally, it won't save. Which is a problem if you've just spent the last 5 hours writing, 1,000 words or whatever. 2,000 words. Depends what your word per minute's going to be.
Yeah. So the way you solve this, Margaret, is I think you can do it. So what I would do is I would have it save every 10 character keystrokes or something. So if you remember back over here and you're trying to do this, okay, right here, see this up here? There's an on object keystroke script trigger in here. So every time I press a key, it's running a script. Now in this case, it's seeing what I typed, and if I walk it, it's performing a find. If I go script debugger and I click over and I hit O, it's going to say, hey, did you press the delete key? No. Okay. Then we're going to set the O in there. Okay, that's great. Going to come down here, check for other situations. We're going to set something else. It's doing it's doing a find for O right there. Okay. And then basically it does some other stuff and it's done. Okay. So it can do stuff pretty rapidly for you. Okay. You would want to, the problem is that if you have it on a FileMaker server, you don't want it every time you touch a key doing network traffic to the FileMaker server. I would come up with I would like have it count, like as you type, it's keeping a count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. When it gets to 20, it takes this data and it saves it.
Yeah, so what, it would commit the record and then decommit it and make sure your cursor's in the same spot?
No, you'd be typing in a global field. You'd never see it happen. You're typing in a global.
Oh, okay. That's interesting. That actually might be fun to mess with, like just in my own time, just to like make that too.
Does that make sense, everyone? Because there's a script trigger here, and so I go back over here, I close this, and I'm gonna go back to layout mode. Well, hang on, I gotta do that again.
I'm going to hold down the Option key so it pops it in a window. Go to layout mode. Click in here. See the little firework explosive thing? Right click. Script triggers on object keystroke. So what you do is you have a counter on this. Every time you type a letter, it's going to be in here running the script. It's going to, you can just hear that the computer panting behind you. Right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. And you even a delete key, it doesn't matter. Back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. As soon as you run this script 20 times, it grabs it and it saves it on and it commits it.
Yeah, okay, but you do the global fields, you don't have to constantly worry about being dropped in and out of the commit record state, because that'll...
Yeah, you'd have to play with that a little bit. It might pop into another window and save it.
Mhm.
Or it sends it to the server and it does it.
Yeah, make it a P sauce.
Yeah, it does it for you. So
I
yeah,
mean-
you could roll your own. That way it's always, I mean, understand that most people don't need that kind of, but you're a writer and you writers are kind of particularly, you're gifted people, but you're also defective and broke individuals.
Thank you.
So, well, it's like me flying. I mean, I can't, if I hear a helicopter fly by, I lose my shit. So, we all have our little quirks, shall we say. So, yeah, so you don't want to lose any salient. I mean, that sentence might be the difference between you being J.K. Rowling and Ben being a failed writer, right? So you don't want to lose the data, right? So, yeah, that's how you tell. That's if you want to use FileMaker, and I'm not saying it's the best use. If you could make that work speedily and fast, then you could use FileMaker. There's a reason you could, and then you wouldn't pay anyone any money because you already own FileMaker, right?
Yeah, that would be the appeal of it, because a lot of writing software is expensive.
Margaret, you want to prototype this?
I might, because I only pay a small fortune for my current writing software at the moment in time.
How much do you spend right now? Per month?
$500 a year.
Yeah.
I use ButterDocs because it has a couple it has features I really like, and it's very simple UI, which is one of the reasons why I picked it up.
I don't have anything else for you folks at the moment. Margaret, if you want to play with that, that's how we do it.
That'd be fun. It would be
but that's only one thing it doesn't do. What else doesn't do, right? It doesn't
I'd pick my favorite features and see if I can mimic it in FileMaker, right?
Well, you know what you do is you have that feature where it says, yeah, take my idea and then write a book for me using AI.
Do not even. You're gonna make me really mad. You're gonna make me really mad.
By all of you want to torque Margaret off, just discuss how AI can write the book for her.
We're not going there. Anyway, we're done. Everybody have a great weekend. We will see you at a later point in time.